Hello, my name is Rachel Shackleton. Welcome back or welcome to my YouTube channel, both for Green Key Personal Development and Green Key Health. Today I'm going to be talking about work-related stress and how to build resilience. I recently wrote a blog on this topic. I won't be covering the whole content of the blog, but a couple of points and a couple of things that you can implement in your life to help build your resilience. So, without further ado, let's get going. To a UK government website, more than 1 million people are suffering from work-related stress. And it is estimated that more than 12 million work days, are lost to businesses every year due to work-related stress. Of course, we cannot say that all stress is coming from the work environment. Of course not. There is always going to be a combination of work-related stresses and stresses coming from our own lives due to life's curveballs we all get and we have to deal with. However, there are things that we can put in place to help us to decrease the impact, because long-term stress on the mind and body aggravates existing disease conditions, leading to more serious diseases, and this is when we start to suffer and have to have sick days, there is absenteeism, and so on and so forth. What is stress? Stress is defined as a situation that is forced on you that requires immediate response. This in itself can drain both mental and physical resources. And particularly, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, when it is ongoing, this can trigger chronic diseases. Common stresses, certainly in the Western world, include financial issues, emotional issues, lifestyle issues, very often poor nutrient-rich diet. So our body and mind is not getting the nutrients it needs in order to respond appropriately. So the question then is, well, what can we do for ourselves to manage the stresses that we live on a day-by-day basis? Let's first ask the question, what is the difference between stress and a challenge? So a challenge is appropriate. It is appropriate stretching of both mind and body to achieve something. Stress kicks in when a challenge becomes overwhelming in some way, and that means that the stress works in the opposite way. It starts to deplete mind functioning and the body in some way by developing some form of condition, whether that's back pain, headaches, stiff shoulders, gut issues, and so on and so forth. When we look in the work environment, there are a number of areas that any leader would put for his or her team members as challenges. For example, achievement of certain goals. For example, certain deadlines. Deadlines might be too short, deadlines might be just right. If the deadline is too short, we can create that stressed environment. If the deadline is too long, we then find underperformance. If the deadline is just right, we have the challenge, but we don't have the ongoing stress. Stress in the work environment can also be caused by other factors, such as a toxic working environment. Perhaps the working environment is overly competitive. Perhaps the boss himself or herself is not a particularly good leader and is showing up one day over-friendly, easy, calm, the next minute or the next day is completely wired and is overreacting to everything. This makes it very difficult for any team member to work in these circumstances. Each one of us is unique. There is no one size fits all. I mentioned some of the physical factors that might show themselves if you are under a constant form of stress due to your lifestyle, due to work environment, due to personal issues, whatever it is. Some of the most common symptoms of stress are headaches, migraines. If you didn't suffer from migraines before or headaches before, and you start getting headaches on a regular basis, this could be an indicator that your body is trying to tell you to back off or slow down, take the foot off the pedal. Back issues, another typical one related to stress. The back is actually the support system of the entire body, and if that is crumbling or aching, not holding you up, you've got to look at what is causing that and ask yourself, why is my back aching in this way? Some people put stress into their gut and start to suffer from things like irritable bowel syndrome type symptoms, where one day you might be going to the loo in a hurry and the next day you can hardly go to the loo. This could also be shown in bloating after you've eaten and other gut cramps and things like this. Of course, those are physical. The mental side of being overly stressed, things like feeling a little bit depressed, feeling anxious, feeling overwhelmed on a constant basis, not wanting to go out, not wanting to socialise. These are all indicators that the body is suffering in some way. It's showing you that you need to take a look at this and ask the question, why? In my blog, I mentioned 5 simple steps to managing your stress or your overwhelm. I'm not going to cover all 5 here. I'm just going to cover 2 of those covered in the blog, and you can refer to the blog later for the other 3. The first one I'd like to look at is be more assertive, or be assertive. Being assertive means that you're able to stand up for yourself. It means that you don't compare yourself to others. Comparing yourself to someone else is actually a useless exercise because you're unique, as are the other people. And what they're good at, you may not be, but what you're good at, they may not be good at. Therefore, why go down that route? So avoid comparing yourself to others. Be aware of the areas where you communicate and you don't actually say what it is you want to say. In other words, you say yes when you're asked if you can do something, maybe do an extra shift, work longer today, take on an extra task, whatever it is, and you say yes when actually in your heart you know that it's no. You need to learn to turn around to that person and talk it through with them. Find a compromise or negotiate a different solution that suits them and suits you. Do not be afraid to do that, and if necessary, actually say no. Assertiveness also means speaking up for yourself in meetings, speaking up for yourself in one-to-ones, sharing your opinion, sharing your ideas, sharing your thoughts, not allowing another person to actually shout you down because you have a different opinion. You have a right to have a different opinion, as does everyone else. And that difference is not a foundation for emotional distress. It is a foundation for confidence, that you can think for yourself, that you can be yourself. But at the same time, if a different decision was made that is not what you wanted, you have to give your commitment and work with that when you're in the work environment and you're working in a team, so that the team accomplishes what the team is committed to accomplish. The other step that I would like to include today to help you manage your stress better and improve and build your resilience is setting your own boundaries and creating me time. We all need me time. Now that me time can be downtime, it can be time where that's just yours to do with it what you want, whether that's walking in nature, doing the gardening, walking the dog, meeting friends, lying in a bubble bath. It doesn't matter what it is, it's the time that feeds you, feeds your mind, your body and your soul. And this is really important to recharging the tanks. But also, me time can be in the work environment where you set the boundaries for when you're available and when you're not available, giving yourself time to accomplish those tasks, those goals that you've committed to accomplish. And therefore, you put a notice on your door or a notice on your computer screen, whatever it is that helps your team members know you're not available at this time. Whether that's a regular time once a week or whether you take each week separately and say, okay, my me time this week is Wednesday afternoon or it's Friday morning or whatever it is. Educating your colleagues around that system and that process for you is very liberating, and it also gives you time to think yourself, to clear the mind, to unclutter and to really get down to that task that is important and urgent, not only for you but for your colleagues, your team and your business as a whole. I hope what I've been talking about is useful for you, and I urge you to go and read my whole blog, which is on greenkeypersonaldevelopment.com. There you'll find all the other steps and more detail around what I've been talking about, which I hope will feed your mind, your soul, and that you'll have some techniques that you can put into practice to build your resilience and therefore manage your stress more effectively. I thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to welcoming you back to my YouTube channel.